I've been using this old Coleman single burner stove on hunting and pack trips for the last 20, 30 years. It served its purpose. I've really enjoyed it. However, it might be time to move on. This thing has always been really unstable on uneven surfaces, and it's only a single burner. So the other day I ordered a new stove and it finally showed up. So like I was saying, I've already used this thing on about a 3-day camp trip. So let's see, I'm gonna open this back up, show you what we got. So when you're looking at the carrying case that it comes in, that thing comes in at about 12 inches. And it looks like it weighs about 2.55 pounds. So let's open this up and see what we got. Comes out real nice. This thing accordions out to a really nice 2-burner stove, and it comes out really easy. It just slides open, and what I do is I take and just gently pull those out. There, it's ready to go. And the stove folds out from 12 inches to 15 inches and ends up being about 6 inches wide. And it still weighs 2.55 pounds folded out. So having 2 burners, they each come with their own hose that comes down to a single regulator that has 2 knobs on it to control each burner independently. So each of the burners comes with a preheating tube, and in the description it says the design of the preheating tube can effectively accelerate the vaporization of the gas, making the combustion more sufficient and is not afraid of low temperature and high altitude. So that's what those are for. On the trip that I recently went on, when I used the stove, I used isobutane. So let's hook the gas up on it and get this baby fired up. But first, before we do that, let's talk about the pans that the stove will accommodate. On my recent pack trip, I used 2 different pans with the BRS stove. Come on. Used a 9 1/4 inch pot and a 12 1/2 inch skillet. And those are both really good sized pans. They worked really well. So the fit was a little bit tight, but they actually both fit on there really well and served their purpose. So the stove accommodated both the pot and the frying pan, and both the frying pan and the pot are big enough to accommodate cooking for 3 to 4 people pretty easy. But then you say to yourself, how well does this stove work out in the wind? Well, it works really good out in the wind because of these wind guards that it's come with. But right now the wind's blowing outside, so let's take it out there and see what it'll do. So let's take this show outside and give it a test out here where the wind's blowing. It's not blowing too bad. We just got a little gentle breeze. You can see that the leaves on the trees are blowing a little bit. These little flags from a project I was just working on, they're blowing a little bit. So we're gonna set up right here. All we're gonna do, get her fired up and boil some water.
Flavorful boiling liquid if you can possibly get it.
So we're doing a pretty scientific research here. Wind's blowing pretty good. All right, so in 2 minutes it's starting to bubble pretty good. It's gonna be boiling here in just a second. And shortly after 2 minutes, it's boiling pretty good. And I'm gonna say the wind guard worked absolutely perfect, because as the wind picked up, it never blew out the flame. So that's a win. So again, I cannot emphasize enough that with the new setup, having 2 burners can cook 2 things at once, and also the stability. We'll do a little stability test here compared to the old Coleman, see what happens. Yeah, see? Definitely better. One thing on this stove, there's a lot of moving parts. So what you want to be mindful of is this piece here and this piece here. That piece you have to be somewhat paying attention when you fold and unfold it, because it's sliding on itself right here. And so you don't want to force it. You just want to be careful when you're doing it. Make sure it lines up right or you're going to bend it. I promise. So you just, like that, just pay attention. There we go. We're popped out, ready to go. So now for the real test. Let's put this thing away. We'll go ahead and fold those in. It's wind protectors. Push it back together. Remove it from the gas. And we're going to take and wind up the cords like that. We'll stick it back over here in the case like that. Tuck it all in. I think it's going to work. So I used that new BRS stove several times over a 3-day camp trip, and it worked flawlessly. I really enjoyed it. So if you want to get more of the technical specs, just Google it, take a look, see the BTUs, the flame throwage. You can get the little converter to take it from butane over to propane. You can do all that stuff obviously, but I just ordered it, dropped off, threw it in the pack, took it with me. It worked absolutely flawless, so I'm definitely going to be taking it with me from now on. I also want to mention that the BRS stove comes with a really nice carrying strap that you can use to hook to your belt. You can also have it on your belt when you're carrying it on a long walk. You can also use that really handy carrying strap to take and hang this thing up, this BRS stove. So people that come over, they're like, wow, this guy's not afraid to try new things, and he knows what quality is. Well, after my last pack trip, and then working with the new BRS stove today and the old Coleman, it's kind of obvious. I mean, I have 2 burners. It works absolutely perfect. I'm really pleased with it. It boils water, which means it fries, it cooks, holds both my pans, super stable and safe. I was always been concerned about that, and it happened several times that Coleman stove tipped over. So anyhow, I think I might have a new stove that I want to take on every trip from now on. That settles that. So if you're thinking about getting a new camp stove, if you're just upgrading the one that you already got, you might want to go ahead and give this BRS stove a shot, So I'm going to put it back in my camp gear so I don't forget it next time.